Well, good evening to you. Thank you for joining me. I wasn't really sure whether to make a recording or just go live. And I decided that, really, I just wanted to have a chat. And there were some things that had been problematic that I'd heard today. And I felt that something should be done to help people. It was on a radio program. I heard a psychologist of some sort who was from a university being asked questions by people who phoned in and being hopeful of some interesting responses. I listened, and I was not just disappointed, it made me kind of angry. And I thought, how can people be so, blinkered in their concepts and in their learning, if that's what we can call it, to actually not really be able to provide answers for people who really need them. And one thing that really bothered me most was that somebody had called in and said that they felt unable to get out of bed in the morning. Obviously, depressed, sad. Didn't say that, but just said they found it so hard when they woke up to be able to get out of bed. And this young person, no doubt with various degrees and so on, just said, well, and then proceeded to say, well, I think if we just do the little things first, and like my athletics coach always said to me, just do the first thing, put your trainers on. And I thought, pardon? Put your trainers on? And then everything else will follow. And then she sort of oohed and ahed some more and then said, well, in this case, just put the sheet off you. Take the covers off. And I thought, had she actually put herself in the place of that person who is in bed and is so beaten by the situation that they wake up to, that they feel that they just can't move, they can't do anything, they just want to be there, they just got to stay there, maybe where they feel safe and stuff like that. We've all been in those situations, haven't we? Right from childhood, you cast your mind back. If it hasn't happened to you in adulthood, as a child, there must have been times when you thought, oh, I don't want to get up. Now, put the covers off you and everything else will follow? I don't think so. So I thought there must be some kind of way that I can let people know. I don't have this vast audience of a scheduled radio program, unless perhaps somebody would like to offer me that. I'm cheap, of course, like free. But I knew that there was something for this person. So for everybody who's suffering like that, and that I would put it out there, and hopefully somehow or other that would help. And like I said in the preamble to this video, I'm not saying, if you are actually suffering in some particular way and you go and get medical advice and you may be prescribed medication for depression or you've been diagnosed in some way, this is just an adjunct. This is just to help Okay, this is not to tell you not to take your tablets or not to take your medicine or don't go anywhere about yourself. You know, stop doing what you're doing, stop going to counselling, stop doing none of that. This is just something that is additional that I guarantee you it will help. So, hi Margaret. I'll show you because we can. Julie, hello Julie. Good evening, and good evening to Margaret. Lovely to see you. Yes, so you'll have to forgive me, everyone, if I don't bring you on to, you know, and so on. But this situation really is quite dire, don't you agree? And so I want to say, first of all, how this can be done. You know, I always say, you know, when you wake up, pray. Well, and I always say a rote prayer. Now, what I would say to people who don't like the idea of actual prayer or whatever, depending on their religious persuasions or none, it's like an affirmation that there is something more than just you. There is something more to life than just what there is. To affirm that there is a higher power, there is a higher source of energy, if you like. Some people talk about universal energy. But if you actually be thankful and actually say, you know, thank you to God, of course, that which is what I do, but you know, to whatever you think is that higher power, that higher source, and say thank you. First and foremost, you wake up and you think, thank you, God, for everything that I have been given so far. That's the first thing you can say. You can say a praise. You can say, you are the Most High. You can say, you are the One. You can say, may your kingdom be forever and ever. You can say any small, short sentences like that to yourself, which we call praying. And you can do that just when you wake up. You don't even have to have opened your eyes to whatever situation you're going to be facing or that you feel. So however you were when you lied yourself down and you went to sleep, and then you've woken up again, and it matters not if it's the middle of the night or late in the day, you've just been asleep and you've woken up. And you give praise straight away. Thank you, God, for waking me up. And I thank you for all the blessings that you've given to me. And that actually will affirm that feeling of being blessed over a period of time. If you say it every time you wake up, it will really, really help. Now, we're talking about a situation where ordinarily you don't want to actually move. You wake up and you just lay there. You may feel that your situation in life isn't worth continuing with, or that conditions around you are so dreadful that you can't deal with them. So maybe if you just stay where you are, nothing will happen and all the nasty things will just go away. Of course, we know that's not true. So we have to help you get through that. So I would say that making that strong affirmation, that prayer, when you wake up, will help you to actually feel that you can actually get up. Of course, you know, we thank God if we can get up, because some people are unable, and we pray for them. That's something else you can do. If you're able to get up, if you know that you would actually be able to get out of bed if you want to, then give thanks and ask for healing for all those who are unable because of their physical disability. And I'm not saying that, you know, the disability of the mind is not something substantial and debilitating, but it isn't actually physically stopping you from moving. And that's what we're talking about. So you need to be able to know that with that help from above, from that greater source of energy in life, that you would be able to get out of that bed. Now, the thing is this, that we all have what we call nature calls. And so at some point, you have to get up and you have to go and relieve your natural functions. And it's something that is inevitable. And you can even blend that in to your conversation, if you like, with that higher source. And also, because I'm a spiritualist, and because we believe that those we love who have passed over still survive in the world of spirit, in the heavenly realms, you can actually have a very pleasant conversation asking for help from those you love who are in the world of spirit. So somebody you really love, your mum, your dad, your auntie, or any relative, any good friend, ask them for some help you get out of bed. If you're out of bed because you have to go to the bathroom, you can speak to them when you're in the bathroom. You can speak to them and, ask them to help you. And especially if perhaps getting to the bathroom's been a bit of a bind and difficult, and maybe you haven't quite made it. So there's some, you need to wash and stuff like that. Talk to the people who love you in a world of spirit and know that they only see you as your dear self, and there's no judgment from spirit. And really, I would suggest to you that you use that an antidote to your difficulties. If you know anybody who is going through this, if they've been able to talk to you about it, please try and offer them this solution, because I know that over time, every time you wake up and you make that affirmation, it makes you stronger and stronger and stronger. And it really does help. Look, when many, many years ago now, of course, as everything is, I had terrible problems, and I had lots of counselling and stuff like that. It was very necessary. And I was diagnosed as being chronically phobic, which means, I was frightened of everything. And overcoming that is quite a difficult mountain to climb, I might say. But I know that this method actually works. If you are frightened of something, it doesn't matter if it's something real or not in other people's eyes. If you find it frightening, it is. You can make those affirmations. You can immediately retreat, if you like, into that safe space between you and your God, between you and your family and friends in the world of spirit, and say to them what you are worried about and how you feel, and make that affirmation always that you're thankful to God for the blessings that you've received. And this will build up that reserve of thankfulness and feeling that something good has happened to you. Even if you can't identify what it is, you will feel something beginning to make you feel good. So there. I wish really that person today on that radio program had been able to say something that I would have considered beneficial to somebody who is suffering in that way, and not being so, if you like, arrogant by saying, well, just, just do this and everything else will follow. If you could just do that, it would be great, wouldn't it? If you were, having problems with your athletics program, and you're an athlete, and your coach just said to you, well, just put your trainers on, that's a start. It's like saying to somebody, well, put your skates on. I would never have said that to anybody who was telling me that maybe they were too nervous to go out onto the ice to have a race. Maybe they were really worried about whether they would do well. I wouldn't just say to them, well, just put your skates on and everything else will happen, because it's just not true. It's not true. Oh, Mary. Ah. Yes, it wasn't, I think it wasn't that she was uncaring. I think maybe to be kind, I think it was just that she didn't know enough. And she didn't say she didn't know enough. Or perhaps she thought she knew enough to be able to say, well, just, just put put the sheet back. Just do one thing. Do the one thing, as if everything else then would follow on. It would be fine. The person would leap up, full of the joys of spring. So I think perhaps it was just that perhaps this person didn't really know enough. I think that people who study these things, Mary, that they get a lot of book learning, don't they? But it's of a certain kind, and it's terribly unspiritual. And in fact, they make it, very often they make a whole science of it, don't they? And especially not being spiritualists, that they're always, the scientists are always, or especially the psychologists, are always trying to poo-poo us as spiritualists and our way of life and our practices and our understandings. In fact, most of the antagonism towards spiritualism on that level has come from departments of psychology in the universities, like Professor Richard Wiseman, for instance. He was always having goes, and Chris French, Professor Chris French. That these are psychologists, and they even get money, for debunking spiritualism. They did in the past, anyway. I think there was something called the Warwick Scholarship that awarded money for people to sort of debunk spiritualism and maintain a totally sort of materialistic view of the world. And that's very sad. So, I'm afraid that psychologists have always been at odds with us on that. But, where I worry about it, and like you, Mary, angry about it, is where they don't look for the wider aspects of a person's psyche, where they only see it as a function of their brain, and they don't see it. They think their mind and brain is the same thing. We understand that the mind is separate from the brain. Yes, of course, the brain has electronic impulses, electromagnetism, and it generates thoughts. But we know that the mind generates its own thought and is attached to spirit, our spirit being, and not our physical being. And that consciousness of our mind is what lives on in our spirit self after we pass over from this physical plane. Hi, Dory. But yes, so like I said, even not even, I mean, me, I'm always sort of dithering and worrying about things. I worried this evening. I thought, should I make just a recording? Should I write something down? Should I talk about this or should I not? Should I go live? Would that be all right? all those kinds of things that assail us as human beings. But, you think, no, what's the right thing to do? And I knew the right thing to do was to go live and take a chance, that people would be interested and listen. And maybe it would be important for as we all spiritualist mediums know, that one person who is in need, it doesn't matter if you know about them or you don't know about them. If we can reach one person who's in need with our understanding and pass that on to them, it can make all the difference in the world. And hopefully it'll make a difference to people who are suffering at this time. It's such an extraordinary time in human history, isn't it? I did have a laugh, actually. I heard somebody say that when the plague had finished, when the plague had sort of worn itself out, there were parties with wine and orgies, and they were wondering whether there'd be the same arranged for the end of this pandemic. So one can only wonder at that. I know that on Saturday morning, a friend of mine and Kathy's, a park running buddy of Kathy's, is making rhubarb cake. And I thought, wow, that's wonderful, isn't it? So I'm looking forward to that. There's always something to look forward to, isn't there? There's always something to look forward to. Now, I just felt that we need as spiritualists to actually, blow our own trumpet, beat our drum, tell people about our understanding and our knowledge, because it will make them feel better. Even if they outwardly dismiss it, let them take away that thought. Now, the other thing is this, that, we always say there are such things as psychosomatic illnesses, which is basically that people think themselves ill. And so their illness isn't really real because they've just thought themselves ill, and so they become ill. But if we accept that our thoughts can make us ill, the same as laying in bed and not being able to get up, thinking, oh no, I can't do this. It can literally paralyze you. Then the same thoughts can make us full of energy and hopefulness and be able to get out of bed and to wake up in the morning and say those affirmations and then think, right, with their help, with God's help, with my old partner's help, with my friend's help, with my mum's help, dad's help, grandparents, whoever it is, with their help, I can get out of this bed. And I can get to the bathroom. And when I'm in the bathroom, if it's difficult in there, I can ask them again, I can talk to them. It's so important for us to put that message out that if thoughts can make you ill, thoughts can also make you better. Yeah, so that's my message. I hope that you yourself are feeling pretty reasonable considering everything. I know that everybody that tunes in to my little chats and stuff, my friends, I know that you will help everybody you can. That's what we do, isn't it? And sometimes it's a bit sort of miserable making because perhaps people misunderstand or they're not grateful or or things go wrong. But nevertheless, we have to keep helping people, and we do have to keep praying for people. We have to keep asking for their healing, for them to be well, for them to be happy. You can even ask for money. You can ask for an anointing of cash. You can ask for an anointing of necessary things to help them. You can just ask, oh, Joanne, hello, darling. Hello. Oh, did you? Oh, thank you. Yes, nice for us to ponder this. I'm going to put this up. Look, there. And what that means is then, of course, you're all going to be famous because people can can show can see it again. It's good fun, isn't it? There we are. We're all famous now. Yeah. So I know that like Joanne, if you've been a bit late coming on, there, you can see it from the beginning and hear what I've been going on about. And I know that you will endorse a lot of what I've said because Joanne is a whole generation away from me, but we have experienced similar things in our life. We have connections like that, and the spiritual connections, of course. Now, I wonder if I need to talk about anything else to do with that. I think we've covered how we can manage to get out of bed in the morning over time. And we talked about, I've just mentioned about asking for healing for everybody, praying for everybody. And it's not an assault on them. We're not trying to convert them to some, cult or religion or anything like that. We're not trying to make them do anything that they wouldn't like to do ordinarily. And I know that some people have even got the sack for praying for people and stuff like that in a hospital situation. It's just dreadful. But we can quietly pray away, can't we? And ask for help for everybody. And we know that it works. That's the other thing. People start to feel better. They might not know why, they might never know why, but it happens. And recovery periods are good too. A lot of people recover much more quickly and better than was expected when we've been praying for that for them. And when we hear about it, we can be a bit smug, and that's good, isn't it? Yeah, prayer works. So the other thing is that we do is we ask for messages, don't we? We get our little hymn book or our little book of poems, and we ask them upstairs, and I've asked them, and we open this, and I'm going to try and read this to you because it's a message for us. She's looking desperately for what I'm looking for? My magnifying glass. I have a magnifying glass, and we hope that I'm not going to knock everything to six here. And I shall see what they've said to us tonight. Here we are. There we are. Death is the fading of a cloud, the breaking of a chain, the rending of a mortal shroud we never shall see again. Death is the conqueror's welcome home, the heavenly city's door, the entrance of the world to come. 'Tis life for evermore. Death is the mightier second birth, unveiling the bright soul. 'Tis freedom from the chains of earth, the pilgrim's heavenly goal. Death is the close of earth's alarms, the watchlight on the shore, the clasping in immortal arms of loved ones gone before. Well, that's quite sombre, isn't it? And here's one here to offset that sombreness. I don't know how they do that, but they do. God of the universe, whose hand hath sown with suns the fields of space, round which, obeying thy command, unnumbered worlds fulfil their race. How vast the region where thy will existence form and order gives, the cup of joy thou too dost fill, for all that grows, survives and lives. Lord, while we thank thee, let us learn beneficence to all below. Those praise thee best, whose bosoms burn thy gifts on others to bestow. So, at the peaceful hour of change, our souls the bonds of death shall tear throughout the starry vast to range thy bounty to receive and share. There. Well, that's all very sort of portentous, isn't it, for everybody? Well, there's no mistake there, is there? There's no mistake. There is life after this life. There is a God. There is an Almighty Spirit. And our loved ones are all there. They haven't really gone from us in that sense. And their minds are just as active and individual as they ever were. And those who have been said to lose their marbles before they passed over actually received them all back. Because, as I said, the brain is one thing and it deteriorates with everything else. The mind is definitely of the spirit, and that only burns brighter and better with the age. And of course, as we know, eternity is a long time, and we all live in that eternity. So if you know somebody who is sick, suffering, worried, anxious at this time, just ask for them. Ask their guides and helpers, because everybody has them, even if they don't know. Ask them to help them. Ask their families to help them. Families that are in spirit, ask them to help. And if you have a particular religion yourself, if you have saints, if you have intermediaries in intercession in the heavenly realms that you like to address and request, then do so. And I'm sure that everybody will feel a lot better as a result. Yes, there are people we can't reach. We can only hope that the light of love and enlightenment will reach into them at some point, hopefully before they pass over. And yeah, this is true. I'll put that up, Mary, because yes, absolutely. And of course, we can't not mention the animals, because animals. When people say, "Oh, you need faith to be healed or to receive healing," no, that's not true. Our animals don't have anything faith, but they do respond to healing. And I'm not talking about a situation where they are physically too ill to be long for this life. However, even having said that, if you give healing to an animal who is on his last legs, really, you will see the calm, or you will know that there's calm that descends upon them, and their little spirit thrives because of it. And somehow, somewhere inside there, they know that they're going to see you again, that they're only going somewhere, a bit like going to a kennels, only a very posh kennels where everything is provided for them. Because when they get to the other side, they're so well looked after. There are people who loved animals here on the earth plane who, when they pass over, are appointed to look after those dear souls that pass over from the animal kingdom. And they're so well looked after over there. They hardly miss us, But of course, those companion animals will be there when we ourselves pass over. And they often come back, of course, to give their love and demonstrate their survival to their companion humans. We've seen that happen often in demonstrations of mediumship in churches, and very lovely it is too. And again, we can give healing to our animals just by putting a hand and asking, for some healing. They get it. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. So I hope that you've enjoyed our time together this evening. I don't know how long we've been chatting for. Not too long, it seems, not compared to sometimes. But it's been wonderful to be able to chat with you, to know that I have got friends out there, and I feel that, and I hope that you all feel that bond of friendship between all of us, everybody. And I know that you all do such good work, and I suppose, you know, I'm always preaching to the converted, as I say, but you know, sometimes we'll have a skeptic who will be listening in or looking in. And of course, the thing is that this way of reaching out to people is so good because it's private. People can see this on their phone, or you know, some other device, and they can you know, access it when they're just on their own in private. They never need to tell anybody else about it. You know, it's quite a lovely thing, and it means that even if your culture or your religious tradition or something is rather down on spiritualism, you know, you can actually secretly access it yourself without having to say too much, and get the benefit of that. And so I'll leave you with those thoughts, and we'll all pray together now. Dear Lord, thank you so much for giving us this evening together, this time together. We ask a special blessing on everyone who is present with us, at whichever time they choose. We ask also a blessing on their friends and their families, and on their animals over whom they have charge. We ask a special blessing on the families and friends of those who join us in this prayer, who are in the realms of spirit. We know that they progress their own journey, and that they are happy with their own friends and relatives over there. We know that they also are able to look over us and see what we're doing, and sometimes actually be able to help us on our life's journey as we struggle onwards, as they did once. We ask also, dear Lord, at this time, for healing for the whole world. We ask, dear Lord, for an end to this terrible pandemic that has afflicted so many people. We ask for the souls of those who have passed to spirit as a result of it. And we ask also for those who are suffering at this time, that they may be relieved of their symptoms. We ask also for transition for those who have come to the end of their road down here on earth, Lord, that they may be comforted and healed on their way over, and be greeted by loved ones, and be joyfully reunited on the other side of life with those they've loved and lost. We ask also for the children of this world who are so innocent. We ask, dear Lord, for you to look after them, shower them with blessings, let them grow in a world which is full of light and love and kindness and caring. And we ask, dear Lord, for love and light to be placed in the hearts and minds of those who govern nations, that they may see that all are created equal, all are created in the image of God, and that is as spirit, the colour of their skins, their features. None of this is of any relevance whatsoever, because we know, dear Lord, that you created us all as spirit with a fleshly covering according to where we were going to be born in the world, and all the different climate conditions and so on that you created for us to live in. We know also, dear Lord, that you will look after us from this day on, as you ever have, as you always were, as you are, and as you always will be. The Lord our God, the Lord is one. The Lord is King of everything and all, forever and ever. Amen. There. So, now. Ah, this has to be in God's good time, all in good time. we are here to do what we can to help everybody we can, and I see that as our mission. And we then go to meet our loved ones at the appropriate time, and that's how it is. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to do our best down here for as long as we can, for as long as we get there. So I'll say God bless you too, Joanne. Thank you very much. And I would say that the next time we meet, I hope everything's moved on a bit, and of course, as it will have, but the situation and conditions in the world would have got a bit better. And we know that dreadful things go on. We can't be everywhere, but we can pray for that, for the light, and to bathe the world and the people in it, and that people will see the error of their ways if they're not being very nice. So I say God bless you, and I will now go, of course, and get my cup of tea. And I hope that because this is the evening here right now, I hope you get a very good night or a very good day, depending on where you live. And of course, to say God bless to everybody at whatever time they might tune in to this little broadcast of mine. So I'll say goodbye for now. God bless you. Keep you safe. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and give you peace.